So Keith Thurman and Robert Guerrero was on the complete opposite end of the spectrum compared to the previous fight that we just talked about with Brona. A thoroughly entertaining matchup, I have to say. On NBC, the first primetime boxing event in how many years? 30 years?
30 years.
30 years. It was fantastic to watch. Very entertaining. Both fighters had a lot of heart. We know Guerrero, older fighter, has a lot of heart. Maybe coming towards the end of his career, who knows? But Keith Thurman, young, energetic. I thought it was a great boxing match. What do you think, Jason?
They call Keith Thurman one time, and they should call Robert Guerrero about 140 times because he took so many power punches from Keith Thurman that at one point or another you have to at least respect the hell out of Guerrero's chin.
Yeah.
Because that's a man who seriously took, not a beating, but when he got knocked down in the 8th or 9th round, and got back up, he waited smart. He was smart. He didn't get right back up because he knew, I need to take these 9 seconds.
Yes.
Gets up at the after 9 seconds, and then gets pushed against the ropes, and wasn't trying to pull a rope-a-dope Muhammad Ali move. No, he got body shot after head shot after chin shot after body shot for 28 straight seconds. And everybody thought at that point he's done, and then comes back out in round 10, 11, and 12 and gave the fans something to cheer for, something to root for. Nobody wanted to see Guerrero look for a knockout punch against Thurman because Thurman deserved to absolutely win that fight, and he did. But what you did get is why boxing is a beautifully amazing, spectacular thing to watch.
Yeah, it was awesome. What did you think, Joaquin?
I think he put on a good display. Thurman was great. Part of the best part about this, right? He got him in Guerrero against the ropes, had him nearly knocked out, but
split his eye off.
He had him pretty beat up. I mean, look, he had to deal with that headbutt early, which was pretty nasty that Thurman suffered.
Yes.
But what we got to see from Thurman was a bit like what we got to see from Golovkin the other week. You know, he had a fighter that pushed him, took him 12 rounds. This guy's known for his knockout power, knocking guys out early. He had Guerrero right where he wanted him, and I think Guerrero surprised him a little bit after, with that comeback, the 9th, the 10th, 11th, 12th.
Very surprised.
Because he came back with a lot of heart, a lot of determination. I mean, most of us have only seen him fight against Mayweather, and he put in a good showing there. Made a decent account of himself. But here's what we know. He talked about it before the fight. His name's Guerrero, which means warrior in Spanish. Yeah. He came out with the warrior's heart, very embodying, the Mexican fighter spirit of, never say die, never quit. We saw a lot of action. I mean, it was such a great change of pace from the first fight. The first round came out, and all of a sudden you're on the edge of your seat because these guys are throwing haymakers.
Yes.
They're getting hit with big shots, and you're like, oh, is this going to be over quickly? I mean, Thurman landed like 5 or 6 bombs in that first round, but he got hit with 2 or 3 too. Yeah. Which I thought was really nice to see.
And it was a little bit unfortunate. It was a great fight to watch. The judges didn't score it as close as they should have if it was based on heart. But heart doesn't win boxing, right? Heart doesn't win the boxing, right? So 120 to 107, 118 to 109, 118 to 108.
Here's one of the major differences between someone like Robert Guerrero, who threw and landed a similar-ish amount of punches to John Molina Jr.
497 Guerrero, 598.
Right, I'm sorry. So he didn't throw a similar amount, but landed percentage-wise, I believe, what, 21%? 21%, which is similar to what John Molina Jr. landed. The major difference was he was tactical about which punches he threw and which he did land. Now, Thurman was pretty good on the defensive side against Robert Guerrero, and obviously Guerrero does not have the one-time punching power that Thurman does have. Thurman at 26, he's a young guy who's got a bright future ahead of him. This was a great win for him. Yeah. But when you look back on this fight, the one thing I'm going to remember most is watching Thurman get that low center of gravity and come in strong with some devastating body shots. And some of those headshots, I really don't know how many fighters would not have been knocked out by round 6, 7, or 8.
No, I don't know how many fighters wouldn't be able to get up after that flush uppercut in the 9th, because that's what it came down to. Because he's very good at alternating where he wants to throw his punches. And Thurman, you said, he throws a lot of punches, like 598 punches thrown a lot. But he's definitely selective in what he goes for in a specific moment. He's seen that Guerrero was weak in the 9th round, and he landed a clean uppercut, which took Guerrero down. And I thought the fight was over. So that's where you got to give a lot of credit to Guerrero, and like you're saying, that warrior spirit to get up and to continue for the rest of the fight is incredible.
And give the fans something to watch, something to cheer for. Yeah. One of the most important things about this fight is after the bell rang in the 12th round, every single person at the MGM Grand Garden Arena was on their feet cheering. Those two men hugged it out because they both knew they gave everything they had in that fight. Again, Guerrero, it's going to be unfortunate when you look at his boxing record because his last 2 losses are Mayweather and Thurman.
Yeah.
But and you might see that it's one of those things on paper that you look at and you go, oh, okay, Guerrero obviously wasn't good enough to beat someone like Mayweather. No one has been, and he hasn't been good enough to beat someone like Thurman. But those who have watched those fights know that you respect the hell out of a fighter like Robert Guerrero.
And you know, and he saved the card. I mean, he's the reason why this was successful because the first fight was a letdown, straight up. Second fight, it really saved everything. It bounced back. You know, you watched an exciting fight, a fight which I think the commentators said was potentially, you know, a candidate for fight of the year as it stands. It's still early in the year. But, you know, as it stands,
I think there's a Mayweather Pacquiao
there
fight
is,
that might happen. Or
that's probably going to be the big super fight. That's going to be a bit bigger. But in terms of the contest, I mean, that could be not as good a fight. I hope it will be, and I'm certain it will be better. But, you know, what we saw from them, you know, Thurman looks like the real deal. You know, he wasn't in the first couple rounds. I noticed he wasn't throwing any body shots. He wasn't throwing many jabs because he was just unloading power shots. But one thing I did like to see later on in the fight, he started working the jab. He started going to the body.
Strategy.
You know, because we go from watching guys like I don't know. I love watching Gennady Golovkin fight, and we watch the way he attacks the body, the way he stalks fighters. And once you see that, I mean, I was watching Broner in the first fight, and I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? Just headhunting.
Right.
So we saw a lot of headhunting in both those fights. But what Thurman did at the end of that fight really showed a little bit of his versatility and what he has in his arsenal as a boxer.
So what do you think is next for Thurman? And I know you just suggested before.
Give him Marcos Maidana. I mean, we want to see him fight Broner for the reason that we want to see like everybody who's a fan of boxing kind of wants to see Broner just take a few more punches to the head, maybe get his head right, just simply because, you know, when you get a cocky fighter in the ring against somebody who can knock you out with one punch, usually makes for good TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you want to get a fight that's really worth seeing, a fight for 2015 that could really stack up, put it on PBC, on the Premier Boxing Championship on NBC, whatever you want to call it. Have that scheduled for the end of 2015 because, I mean, what a beautiful fight that was.
Please.
Yeah, so Thurman, 25-0, 21 KOs. He definitely looks the real deal.
And Marcos Maidana's a KO specialist as
well.
He's
So it would be...
That'd be one hell of a war.
I'd
be excited about that.
So, I mean, despite the one-sided nature of the scorecards, still a great fight all round, and it was definitely thoroughly entertaining to watch. So good choice by NBC to have that be the primetime fight. It saved the card, as you said. We want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the section below. What was your favourite fight of the night? I'm sure it's a pretty easy choice as it was for us. Make sure to stay tuned. Plenty more boxing coverage here on TYT Sports.